Hey, we are live. Just jumping on here really quickly to have a quick chat about writing rules. I have seen a number of posts in writing groups on Facebook over the weekend from writers who are just extremely confused, disheartened, and a couple of writers, their comments were indicating that they were really considering just giving up writing altogether because they find all the rules that people kind of advocate just really confusing, and they think they're doing the right thing, or they think they've got a particular rule, and then someone says no, you shouldn't do that, etc. So this is what I want to talk about. And so I just want to mention some of the rules that, this is literally, I don't spend that much time in Facebook groups at all, but these are just things just really quickly that, when I just kind of glanced at posts, etc., that I saw people talking about. So this was rules about punctuation, about sentence length, rules about the use of adverbs and adjectives, rules about how you use backstory, rules about show, not tell, or show and tell, rules about flashbacks. And these were just some of the topics that I saw people mentioning. And the first thing really that I wanted to say about rules is that there are no rules. The idea that there are the word rules makes me think of school. It makes me think of the armed forces. It makes me think of lockdown. It makes me think of jobs. And the idea with rules are that, if you break them, something bad is going to happen to you. And in the case of writing rules, this is just ridiculous. There are no rules, there are only guidelines. And as far as I'm concerned, where somebody, whether that be in person, whether it is in the form of a book, whether it is a course tutor, whether it's somebody on social media, where they say, oh, you must not do this, or, it's wrong to do that, or you cannot do this. It's so important to take that with a pinch of salt, because who says, who says, and even if someone does post, there are so many posts, there are so many texts, there are so many things, that say writing rules, and that doesn't mean that, they are true. It doesn't mean they're things that you have to abide by. And I just literally, wherever I see that word rules, I just substitute the word and put in its place guidelines. And so guidelines then, are there to be interpreted. They're there to be thought about and to be, reflected on within the context of whatever it is that you're doing. And so if you're writing a story, the only person who is going to know about that story, in detail is you. Okay, not a textbook, not a course tutor, not somebody on the internet, not somebody in a Facebook group. Okay, and so what I think is the best thing, the best way to respond to these rules that people keep citing, is to learn about what the various effects are of the things that they're talking about. So where somebody is talking about the use of adverbs and adjectives, for example, to learn about all the ways in which their use can affect the sentence that you're writing, the paragraph that you're writing, the story that you're writing, okay, and what some of the options and the alternatives are, etc. Or, or the situations or the situations where actually it just doesn't matter at all if you use an adverb or an adjective. And, that goes for the same with things like show and tell. This idea that, we're meant to only use showing in our stories is just ridiculous. All writers, all storytellers use telling, use exposition in their stories. It's just a question of knowing, when to use it and when not to use it. It's a question of learning about, when to use showing and, and how to use it. And really with all of these things, it's about practicing, experimentation, it's about gathering the information, thinking about it, reflecting on it within the context of the story that you're writing. Okay. And so, as I said, it's only you will know about your particular story. Okay. And so please don't be disheartened. When someone quotes a rule at you, please just substitute the word guideline and either ignore it completely or, better, my personal preference is trog off and basically, investigate that particular thing. Okay. Please don't be disheartened, by these supposed rules. Nothing bad is going to happen to you. Your computer is not going to blow up. If you break a writing rule, your notepad is not going to spontaneously combust. Your writing career is not going to be over, forever if you break a rule. And yes, I am saying that flippantly because it is such a shame. It really upsets me. It really bothers me, when I see other writers, in groups, so confused by some of this advice that goes around, that they are unable to write, or they're on the verge of giving up writing. That really, really bothers me. And this is why it's Sunday evening here, and there are lots of other things that I could be doing, and I'm going to do in a minute. And I just wanted to hop on and hopefully just mutter and mumble a few words that I hope might, at least, if they help one person, that's great. I'm happy. So bye for now.